Okay guys, this is a overview in how to use the LockVue cloud software platform. So you navigate to the URL go.lockvue.com and you can set up your own account by clicking on register now and putting the relevant details. Then to log in, once you've got your account, you choose your address, log in, and you'll see that you'll be presented with the dashboard screen. This dashboard screen provides some data around how many locks you have, lock groups and teams, and the activity within that particular login for those locks in the last hour, 24 hours, and all time. So this particular demonstration login, you'll see there's been activity across the last hour and 2,355 unlocks all time. Then you'll see a location map, the location of the various locks around the world. In this demonstration, you'll see there's locks in New Zealand, Australia, over in Asia, and also some in the UK. And you can click on any one of these to pick up the recent details around the lock name, the lock type, the serial number, and also who was the person that last unlocked that particular smart lock. And you'll see that you can also do that in New Zealand here. This was a New Zealand Post lock that was opened. And if we look at the UK, there's a lock over here opened by Mike. And we can go into the locks menu and we can have a look at the lock screen. Within the screen, you'll see a few different things. You'll be able to see a summary of all the different lock types you have within your login. In this case, there's 4 key lockers, 36 Nokis, and 2 airbolts. And these tables below break down the difference between the locks that you own, which is all these locks here, the locks that you administer, the locks that you can view, and also the locks that you have one-time access to. So this example shows various locks that my particular login has access to. And with locks that I own, these are the ones that I've activated myself. We'll take you through the activations process in a second. The locks under administrator, I've been shared these locks by a different lock owner, so I have the admin permission. And locks that I can view, I've also been shared, but these locks, all I can do is view them and open them with the apps. And same for the one-time access locks, where I can only view them and open them for a specific access period. So we go up to the activate process, click on activate. And this is where you can choose a lock type you want to activate, the serial number and the lock name. And once you hit activate, it'll activate that particular smart lock into our system. Then if we want to look at some specific detail around the lock, we take a random lock here, so Noki Padlock Demo 1. This is the name of the lock, this is the lock type, the serial number, the battery strength, and the map with the last known location of where that lock was opened, and also who opened it. So I opened that one 4 days ago, and if you look on the map, we can see exactly where that was opened. That was in Coogee in Australia, in Sydney. So that's that particular lock there. So if we have a look at the details here, we can now go into settings. We can have a look at the specific details around that lock. We can also choose to rename that if we would like in this particular field here. And all the other details are static around the serial, the MAC address, and the subtype of the lock. Now we can have a look here at how we share those locks. So within sharing, we can now choose various different options. So firstly, to share a lock, you put a person's email address in. So you put the particular email address in here, and you can then choose what that particular user, so this person here, demo user at lockvue.com, whether they're an administrator or a view only permission, and you can also decide what time restrictions you wish to give them. So this particular example, let's choose view only, and we can give them some specific permissions. So if we want to make that from now and to a specific date next week on the 18th, and we want to make that finish at say 3 p.m. So now we have the permission issued to this particular user for a view-only permission from now until 3 p.m. on the 18th of December. We can also choose to give this particular person one-time access, which gives them a window of access during this particular period here. So rather than access throughout this entire period, you might want to give them a specific access window. And in this particular case, you can choose the one-time access slot and the window of that one-time access. So in this case, it's 5 minutes. So that means that any time this particular user comes up and opens this lock with the app, during this particular time period, they'll have a timer will start, and they'll have 5 minutes of access to that particular lock, and then after which time the access will be revoked automatically. So if we click share, then it will share that new permission with that user and send them an email to notify them of that share permission. So that's the quick rundown of a locks page. It's quite a lot of useful information there, and as I said before, it breaks down which locks you own, you administer, you view, and you have one-time access to. And then we can also have a look at the permissions. Within permissions, this shows the various types of permissions that the locks on this particular login have been, who's got access to what particular locks within this login. And in this particular login permission screen, there's quite a lot happening, but you can click on any one of these fields and decide and have a look at what specific information here it relates to that particular permission. So in this case, there's a particular smart lock. This is the serial number. It's actually located at our office, and it's a module subtype. It was last unlocked on this particular demo lock was unlocked 15 days ago by this user, which is myself. And then if we want to revoke that permission, we just we can simply click on this button here, and we can choose then to get rid of that, which is a manual, which manually revokes that permission. And we can also see the detail here around how long those permissions will last for. In these cases, these are all open-ended, they're indefinite. There's no end date, but if we look up a little bit further, we might be able to see an example of some one-time access permissions in here. These are one-time access permissions. All right, so that's permissions. If we want to look at the activity screen, this screen here will show you the activity across that particular login and all the locks that are associated with this particular login. So we can see here today that there's been a key locker lock unlocked. That was today at 5:30, and we can see that it was the battery life of that particular event. It linked to that particular lock and when it was and who was responsible for that unlock. If we take this one here, if we want to look at a bit more granular detail about the unlock, we can click on the drop down. We can see what lock type it is, what serial number it is related to it, and also what device was used. So what LockVue app, what version of the LockVue app is running on that particular device. So this is an iOS Apple phone, iPhone, and we can see that it's running 2.1.1 LockVue app, but it's also running version 11.1.2 iOS operating system as well. So that's useful for diagnostics and support. And we can also then click on the location. Like before, we can bring up the map, and this is the same lock that we saw earlier in Kuji, and we can click on the View Larger Map to bring up more granular details there. So this brings up the specific location that that particular lock was opened up at. Right, so that's a quick overview and where the platform is at right now in terms of functionality. Everything's working end to end, and how it works is that once you've set up these locks and permissions and shared them with various users, you can then use the mobile app, obviously, to open those specific locks. And all of that data collected from the different mobile apps in the field will then flow into the LockVue platform, and you'll be able to see that as an administrator. Moving forward, we will have there will be some more tabs that will appear options here in the menu for the functionality around lock groups, where you can group locks together in different sites and different assets. And it'll also be, there's a module coming very soon around teams, where you can group people together in specific teams. And then you can associate lock groups and teams together, which is a much quicker process than having to individually administer specific people to specific locks. And then finally, there's a support function. Down here you can click on either the support option here, or you can come into this specific feature here, where you can talk to our team around any particular issues that you might be having, and then our team will get in touch and resolve those issues. So that's a quick rundown of the LockVue software, and hopefully all that makes sense.